Oh no. FIA season's over now, and there's gonna be none till GT7. What am I gonna do for new content on my channel? I think I'm in trouble.
Ooh, I think I have an idea.
I got it!
Hello everyone and welcome to a very new exciting saga in uneven asphalt. So, the Gran Turismo being over and content kind of going down, there's a new update for PS5 and I'm decided I'm gonna make a whole new section. It's called Do It Your Ordinary Self, or for short, DIOS. So basically what it is how-to videos on certain things. So without further ado, let's get started. And so the PS5 got the finally long-awaited software update that you can actually add a NVMe storage to it. However, looking at the outside, there's really no place to put it, and that's because we have to take apart the panels to put it inside. So this video, I kind of watched it from the PlayStation support, although I have some little gripes about it as we'll go through this. But yeah, I'm going to walk you guys through how to add more internal storage. So for my purposes, I got a 2 terabyte Seagate with heatsink that is required. So yeah, we're going to start with the heatsink first, putting basically everything together so it's ready to be dropped in, and then we'll go about taking apart the PS5. So alright guys, as I mentioned, we're going to prep the SSD to be installed in the PS5. So a couple things that you're going to need. So obviously you're going to need the SSD card itself. So I went with the Seagate Firecuda 2 terabyte. Few things you want to look for. There's a bunch of YouTube videos out there that gives great information. I'll put some links in the description below for your reference. But basically, two things you want to look for is durability. So I believe it's measured, I think it starts with a T, but the higher the better. And basically what this does is, since a PS5 you're constantly playing games, there's a lot of read and writes. You want basically longer longevity so it lasts longer. So Seagate was one of the top ones, and initially the read speed, Seagate was the top one. So I went with 2 terabyte, and then as described in the PlayStation support video and PDF that you can find online for installation, you also need a heatsink. The reason why is there's not a lot of airflow, as you see when I put in the PS5. So I kind of did some searching and I found this one to be pretty interesting. It has a nice design. You kind of want something with fins to help dissipate the heat. You don't want something that's a flat surface. So we went with the Neo cooler heatsink for it. So let's open up the heatsink. So with this heatsink, you have the actual heatsink itself that you have to take apart. So basically the SSD would be sandwiched in between over here, and then you also have thermal pads. Now the thermal pads just help with heat transfer. They kind of act as a transition between the SSD and the heatsink. Now one video, I've yet to confirm this, but kind of looking at the cards, it seemed pretty reasonable. If you have a 1 TB or below, you only need one, I believe. If you have 2 or over, you need both front and back. Me personally, I'm gonna put 2 regardless, because we got 2 thermal pads, so you might as well use it. And you can kind of see it's in a nice shape. They fit right inside it. So let's begin. So we are going to take apart the SSD. I can get this thing open. And you can see, here it is. It's in a nice anti-static sort of paper. So I'm just going to tear this. And you can literally see it's just a stick. Now, some prep we have to do to this beforehand. They usually come with their own type of thermal pads, but we can't use this on top of this. It's just not gonna work. So what we do need to do is we need to remove this. So basically what we're gonna do, you're just gonna take some tweezers or something like a light screwdriver, and you're just gonna peel off the sticker. Actually, it's a sticker. There's no like thermal compound on it, which is odd. Again, do the same for the back side. Just try to pick a spot that doesn't really have anything on it. We're gonna take this out as well, but I'm gonna need my fingernails for this. Alright, now you're just gonna put the thermal compound over it. So I'm gonna bring it closer. As you can see, there are these big blocks. That's where the thermal pad has to go over on these. So I gotta put this down for a second. Just want to, there's like a plastic, there's a bit of plastic. So basically you just want to put the thermal pad over it. Now, if you see a kink like this, don't worry, this is pretty flexible. Yeah, you just want to put it over like so. You know what? For now, I'm gonna leave the plastic back on just to protect it. But when we go to install it, we're obviously gonna take it off. If you don't have complete coverage, that's okay. Just as long as you get most of the surface area on it. Just give it a good pinch. Make sure it's nice and seated. Let's see, it's a sandwich. So now we're gonna take our heatsink and we're going to just, believe it just clicks. Yep. It clicks like so. So the flat surface is here. That's what will help us with the thermal transfer. So kind of do a, ooh, it's a little tight fit actually. So do a test fit first, make sure it seats in fine. It's a bit of a tight fit, so I had to play with it a little bit. But I don't have it secured, but basically what you want is you want this piece sticking out so that you can slide it in the PS5. You also want this piece sticking out so the screw will hold it secure. And then another thing too is there's some sort of gap in between. I'll try to zoom in. Sorry guys, it's a GoPro. It's only as useful as a pile of mud sometimes. This has to be at a certain height, otherwise it's not going to slot in properly. So I ditched the GoPro mount. It wasn't really working. So this is what it looks like when it's all completed. You see it's a sandwich. You see the 2 thermal pads there along with the heatsink itself. Like I said, make sure that this is sticking out properly so you can have good leverage, and you'll see why in a second when we put it in the back. You have enough access for the screw to go in. Alright, so now we're going to get to the fun part for putting the SSD in the PS5. So, a couple things you're going to need. Obviously, you're going to need your PS5. If you don't have a PS5 yet, save this video for the future. It will come in handy. And while you're at it, give me a like and subscribe and tell your friends all about the channel. You're going to need a #1 screwdriver. Now, I prefer a ratcheting one. And you'll see why in a few minutes, especially when tightening. You don't want to over tighten it. Unfortunately, what you don't need is a hammer and some ugga-duggas. So we're just going to put these away. Alright, step 1, we got to take out the base. So grab your flathead. See, it's a flathead screw over here. And we're just going to unscrew it. Now, depending on where you have your base, if it's standing or if it's on the side, that's where you want to uninstall it. Step 2 is taking out the panel. If you haven't cleaned your PS5, I suggest now's the perfect time to take out both. But the panel that we're going to be taking out and purposes for the SSD is going to be the opposite of the PlayStation side. Right here. So on the back part of the PS5 where it kind of arcs in, might be hard to see in the video, but there are these 2 little posts. So ideally what you want is you want to put pressure on, you want to kind of flex it up and then basically just slide it downwards towards the bottom of it, and it just should just slide out. So these are kind of where the post goes into. This is your fan, and this is actually going to be where the SSD is going to pop in. So you're going to take your #1 screwdriver. This video is not sponsored by Snap-on, but they are some lovely tools, and you're going to take out the screw. Now, this is what it looks like when you take off the cover. So you're going to have these 4 posts, 5 really if you have a really long one. Now, on the SSD box, and this is a nice way for you to determine which hole it has to go into, mine says PCIe ×4. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to fit in this one. As well, if you want ahead of time just to kind of mock it up, you could do so. You see it about goes there. Now, I thought I needed to buy a post. Now, most storage, they don't come with post. When I got the heatsink, it actually came with some post. But PlayStation has conveniently decided to have one in there. And it's going to be all the way at the end over here. So basically what you're going to do, you're going to take your screwdriver. You're going to unscrew it. Still using number one. That's it. This thing will bite. So you see this little adapter hole? This adapter piece. The silver part is where you want to put how long your memory is. Gonna go right in here. Now for the for putting the storage in, you want to line up so it's long, and then the short part is towards the outside. So when you put your heatsink together, you want to make sure it's in the right orientation. So you see it's gonna go in this way. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna insert it, but it's gonna be at an angle. So when it's installed right, it's gonna pop out like this. That's perfectly normal. That's kind of why that screw is there. So just gonna pop in the screw. Oh, I need tiny hands. You want to make sure that it's aligned, and then you just screw it down. There it is. It's secured. Now, PlayStation support says to put this cover back on. I'm going to tell you, get out of here. And here's why. And I'm going to try to zoom in. Hopefully you can see it. When there's no SSD and the cover's on here, obviously there's nothing to really need to cool it. But these memories produce a lot of heat, and the higher the terabytes, it's kind of like the higher the terabytes, the more heat. Hence why you need a heatsink. Now, if you have this closed and it gets really, really hot, you honestly think that these two tiny little holes are going to help dissipate heat? It's basically just going to be an oven in there. You want as much free airflow as possible, so leave this open. You got the fan right here. It'll be pushing air out. It'll kind of just take some of the heat as well, as kind of why I told you to get the fins to help dissipate the heat outwards. And you see kind of like the vents on the side. So that's basically that. And all you're gonna do is you're gonna slide the you're gonna slide it back in, and it should have an audible click when, and try to hold this. So you're gonna slide it back in. You're gonna hear an audible click. That means it's secured. We installed our memory, and now we are ready to format it. Alright, so once you plug your PlayStation back in, go ahead, fire it up. I also forgot to mention in the video, if you have a base, put it back in. Now, I would do a record, but I'm not 100% sure this is gonna happen. A lot of videos are like, oh, just, you know, format it. But I'm actually gonna show you once I put this shade down so there's no glare. So to use your SSD, you need to format it. That's basically across everything in computers. Obviously there's no data on it because it's brand new. So format the SSD. Should only be a moment. What we got there? The read is as followed. If you experience problems while playing, try installing it on console storage. That's a good speed. That's a very good speed. I believe minimum's 5500, so we're well above that. Press OK. It's been formatted. To change where games are installed, go to settings, storage, installation location. To safely remove, turn off your PS5 first. And we're good. So I'm gonna put this down. We're going to, as an example, move our version of Call of Duty, which is, oh my god, sorry, messages are just popping up on me while doing this. You guys can't see it, but we're going to move our version of Call of Duty in terms of storage, which is Gran Turismo. So let's take a look. So we got console storage and we got M.2 SSD. Now, some people get spooked. They're kind of like, oh, well, I thought this is replacing it. No, this is just an extension. So we have, what, 67 gigabytes to start? We added 2. For this instance, we have over 2.5 terabytes of memory, which is fantastic. So, installation location. PS5 games and apps. I don't know which one I want to move it to. I think we're going to do PS5s to the SSD. We'll move the console storage to PS2. Let's try to see if we can move Gran Turismo. Now, this is one thing I never got. I don't know why there's 2 versions of it. Yeah, alright. So, this is how you move it. You want to select on whatever game, or you could pretty much do everything. You select items to move. We got Gran Turismo. We got a couple other games. A lot of them I don't really play anymore. But Gran Turismo is like the bulk of it. So you're gonna select whatever games. Now you see console storage. After we move it, we're gonna select on move. And the purpose of this is that for games like Gran Turismo, it has to do a whole overwrite of the game. So it's basically rewriting the entire game when it doesn't install. So we're going to move it there for now. I kind of plan on when there's more PS5 games to move the PS4s to a external hard drive. But that's basically, for now, we could just move like the heavier games over to the M.2 slot instead of the console storage. So this is actually taking quicker than I thought, considering it's a pretty big game. And that's it. So let's go back to our storage. Console storage, free space. That's a lot of free space. And then M.2 SSD. There we go. Gran Turismo 110. So that's it, everyone. So I thank you all for watching. Please give the channel a like and subscribe. When more interesting stuff comes along the way, I will definitely do more Dios videos. And I hope you all have an extraordinary day. And I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.